What's up guys, welcome back to yet another video. We haven't done a story time video in a long time, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share. As you've already seen the title of this video, we're going to be talking about how one car actually changed my life and ruined it at the same time. And we're going to be answering questions such as how I got into cars, how I fell in love with this car, how it changed my life, and how it actually ruined my life. I'm sure most of you are busy thinking this car is a red Beats. It's actually not that car, and if you've been watching my vlogs for a very long time, I have a hint to what this car actually is. But for most of you that do not know, this car is unfortunately not with us anymore. It's not with us anymore, so I'll kind of put down a montage for you guys right now of all the pictures that I have. It's not even a lot though, and yeah, just check this car out and see how it changed my life. So yeah, this car is actually a Corolla Ae101. Yeah, I actually know it because yeah, Ae101. Most of you are busy like, what car is that? What kind of Corolla is that? But it's just those type of ordinary Corollas that you see on the roads, except that it's kind of old. These cars were manufactured, say, I think in the 1980s, somewhere there. I'm not really sure, but 1980, maybe 1988, 18, somewhere there. For most of you that don't know, there was a sports version released of it. This car was actually a car that used to be in many sports arenas, so to say. Forgive me because it's about to rain outside, so it's kind of thundering and whatnot. But yeah, this car was in racing, and Toyota actually developed a car that was meant for racing, and it was called the TRD 2000. I actually found out about this a couple of weeks ago, and I was in love with this car even more than I already was. And this car came with 16-inch alloy wheels that were just nice. The suspension was lowered because it was a front-wheel drive car. I don't think much was done to it, but for people that love that car, that was just like the golden key or something of the Corollas in those days. It came with a spoiler. It came with those one. I don't know why I've forgotten this. It came with, what do you call those? Like, you guys will see that build eventually on this channel because that's my dream car. So yeah, story time begins in that this car was left behind by my dad, and when my dad passed on, story to tell for another day, I went to stay with my granddad, and all his cars actually went with us because he ran a taxi business, so he had a bunch of Corollas, but among those that we kept was this white one. And I never knew how to drive, and I started learning how to drive. Now we're getting into how I fell in love into this car. I got into cars mainly because of my friends. You know, there were times when you're at school and your friends would busy run to the car park just seeing the cars that are coming in and dropping off the children. And I used to laugh at them like, guys, why are you doing this? Why would you be busy going checking out cars and whatnot? But eventually I started getting into cars, you know, searching up cars and going onto Facebook, checking out various pages and whatnot. And that's how I got into cars. And by then, that's actually later in my life. Yeah, that's actually later in my life than the current period where we're at, where we got the car from my dad and whatnot. So I was in grade 7, and that car was home with us with my granddad. I never knew how to drive, but there came a time when my brother came by, and my brother was one of those notorious people. So we actually stole the car from home. You know, where my granddad used to sleep. He's sleeping, we just hurry up into the car, start it, and that's how we went. We came back, my granddad shouted at us, and eventually when my brother went away, I remained with like, that was nice, you know, actually driving a car and whatnot. So grade 8 then, that should have been grade 8. Nobody actually taught me how to drive a car. I just got in one day, just every day when you're in the car with someone driving you, you're looking at what they're doing and you're like, okay, I can do that. I can do that. And that's how I just got into the car. Started driving it within the yard, and this is the actual car that we're talking about, the Corolla Ae101, the white one that you guys have seen. Started driving it within the yard, just reversing it, driving it forward. You go drive it around the yard because the yard was kind of big. So you go drive it around the yard, you come back, because I was scared by that time. My brother is older than me, so me stealing it would just be more problems for me. But within time, my granddad got to know that I was driving the car, or that I could drive. So he started giving me time to time, go to the market, come back, and whatnot. And as I grew older now, I reached grade 9, and then I went into secondary school, and you met all those kind of different people, and I became kind of notorious, so to say, and I started stealing the car from my granddad now, because he knew I could drive. So kind of on the safe path, but I just started stealing it, and it kind of became a habit where he just knew that, okay, he does this. And even when he could hide the keys, those old cars, since we used to use keys, it's no longer push to start, then you could kind of put it on ACCA. That's what I used to do. Guys, don't do this. I could put it on ACCA. It was like ACC, not ACC actually. That's the course I'm doing. I could put it on ACC. That's the part where you can actually play the radio and whatnot in the car without it being on. So I could put it there, and then I could remove one of the battery terminals, so that when I put back the terminal, I could start the car without the actual keys, and I could just use a screwdriver or anything. As long as I didn't fully turn it off, then I'd be safe wherever I go. Yeah, I was kind of a bad boy, you can say that, but it was nice by then. And through that process, I got to love that car. I started loving it because I felt like it was mine now, because there were a bunch of cars there, so my granddad would be driving one, and I'd just be with that particular one. And yeah, I learned how to drive in that car, so you can count that as one thing that made me love it. And as you've seen from most of the vlogs that we do, I love drifting. And by then, when we see some of the people drifting on Facebook, and for obviously a fan road drive car, you can't drift it, so I just used to do 110s. You do this once in a while, and because of all those things that I did with it, I kind of fell in love with it. And the worst part came now when I stole the car one day without my granddad knowing. I drove it about, because I did not know most of the mechanical stuff that I know now, and I didn't check if there was water in the car, so we just went driving like that. It was a crazy day, but we enjoyed it. But then the unfortunate time came when I knocked the engine, because I was driving without water, and I don't know if I wasn't looking at the temperature. By then I didn't know all that stuff. All my mind was bent on is just driving, and the car just turned off. So in my mind I was just like, no, this is just the battery that has died on us, and let's just jump start it. We tried jump starting. The car did not start, guys. The car did not start. I was scared for my life, and I think by then my granddad was away. I think he was away, or he just went into town or something like that, or he was working. I don't really fully remember, but I had to tell all the guys that I was with that day, I'm saying, guys, let's just push this car home. Let's just push it home and leave it in the garage, and it will be like I never even got it. Okay guys, I was really bad. I don't even know why I'm sharing this stuff, because it's not good. But yeah, that's how we just parked it in the garage, and it was like it wasn't even me who knocked it. I know I obviously haven't talked much about how or what I loved about this car mostly, but it's kind of just within me, that I love that car. You can't really always explain why you love a certain car, but it's just something. But yeah, now I want to talk about how it ruined my life. First thing, obviously, on how it ruined my life is that it got sold, and there was nothing I could do about it, and that's one thing that hurt me the most. And I was angry, obviously, at the person who sold it, but there's nothing I couldn't do, because at that time it wasn't mine, and I thought it was going to be mine. But I won't get into that story. How family things go, and how it ruined my life as well, because I was in grade 12, just finished my grade 12, and I was obviously thinking of going to university just like I am right now. And I was thinking, man, if I'm going to go to university, I obviously need a car that would look nice, a car that will never break down, a car that will just suit everything about a student. And I got diving into the car, I started pulling out the engine. I actually pulled it out. Not I said pull, I pulled it out. I broke down the engine into various parts. Even though I had never built an engine before, I tore it down to bare scrap and metal. But I was careful in doing that because I always put stuff in plastics, labeled it so that I was, even when rebuilding it, obviously with some expert advice, I'd do a good job at it. So it kind of tore my heart because I was aiming to make this car beautiful and just be perfect. I cleaned out the entire interior of this car. When I tell you I cleaned it out, I mean the engine bay. Got the engine out because I wanted the engine bay to look totally clean. I cleaned it out, used degreaser, and it was back to its almost original color. I was also planning on just repainting the engine bay and just making it look all nice. I just wanted it to be perfect for me when I went to university. So that's why I was doing all this. I moved all the dashboards, all the carpets, all the seats, cleaned them, making sure it would be just a clean car when I went to university, that it had a rebuilt motor that would never break down. And unfortunately, because I wasn't expecting to be in university just like the next year after completing, and when I was called to actually go to university, I had to leave the car in the hands of my granddad, who actually ended up rebuilding and finishing everything, but he actually sold it. So that was kind of a bummer, and that's how it ruined my life, because this would have been the car that we would have had now, even on our YouTube channel, talking about it. And I feel like it would have been a great platform. It would have been a great platform just to show my love for cars and how I actually want to build cars and whatnot. So that's how it ruined my life. After making me love cars so much, doing to a car something that I've never done to any car before, and kind of diving into something that I never used to do before. And the fact that it got sold, the fact that I was rebuilding it and I never got the chance to finish it, and the fact that it's no longer here. I feel like that's all that I had to share about my story about this car changing my life. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys have a car that changed your life or ruined your life. If you do, please leave a comment below, and I'm sure to check it out and we'll have a chat about it. But I thank you for watching this video. I hope you've given it a thumbs up and you've liked it. And yeah, maybe we'll do more story times in the future. I'm not really a fan of sit down videos. I don't know, I love to be outdoors doing something, but I feel like this was a video that I just had to make. So see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and share, like, subscribe.